All right, so the next one is from let me see.
Jared
Avey ought to get this too, so he gets suspension anyway. So
Yep.
Oh, but this was from November 30th, so maybe he this was last week, but this does get a suspension.
Mm-hmm.
No, but you know what though? Tell him this. Okay, I'm gonna tell Jared Avey about this. If you tweet, I'll lift the suspension. Okay, because you doubled up this week. But next week you can have a submission if you post the L for saying you were wrong about Liv Morgan turning heel in that email, right? So the subject is DDP planning out matches. Hi, K100 fam. Glad you were back, Conan, and hopefully on the road to doing much better moving forward. I wanted to ask about Diamond Dallas Page's old reputation from back in the WCW days of planning out every spot or most spots in his matches. I know Ric Flair was notoriously someone who was critical of Page for being a meticulous planner in his matches. My question for the crew is, was working with DDP back in WCW difficult? Did he plan close to every spot in a match with you? And did you notice any animosity between Flair and DDP in the locker room because of difference in philosophies? Thank you, and from Best is Jared. They weren't to each other, but Rick would throw, side. He'd bury Page every once in a while, and Page had this. Page liked to go over move for move, but when on TV, like when I worked him, and maybe when Conan worked and stuff, we had like a 6 or 7 minute match, so that didn't take too long. It wasn't, we all knew. It's like you knew what you were going to do. It wasn't like the thing, but then he went to WWE, and he was going to be wrestling with Taker, and he had a match like written out on paper. Hunter told him, "Do not show that to Taker." Showed it to Taker anyway, and the famous story is Taker saw it, crumbled it up, and threw it in the garbage. Okay, because like these old school guys were like wanted their match written down top to bottom, and Page didn't get that, So
I remember I do remember very vividly Benoit telling me, "Can you believe this guy? He handed me a letter like the moves he wanted me to do." And I was like, "And what do you do?" He goes, "That."
Right, yeah, you're right. You don't hand a guy a piece of paper the match.
A great worker,
and telling him is like, hey, here's what I want you to do to me.
Right.
Right? It's just like you just don't do that, right?
Right.
They say. I mean, maybe he didn't do it all the time or just for big matches, but Savage supposedly really wrote things out like that, especially the match with Steamboat. It's the famous one, but you'd have to imagine Savage and Page had such good matches because they had probably
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Savage, yeah, supposedly. Yeah.
No, the Savage was like Savage because Ric Flair says this. Ric Flair says, I heard him. It's either on his podcast or something. It's like if you want to compare, there's 2 5-star matches, okay, that Savage that Ricky Steamboat had.
Yeah.
One against Flair, it's at WrestleMania 3, and maybe Chi-Town Rumble. Maybe 2 5-star matches with Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah.
He said Flair like says, "Go. You want to know which match is better? How about he had a 5-star match with
Steamboat?
9 5-star match. We called it in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when one was written down and we worked with me. We called it out. We called it out in the ring.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's news to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
and he had Steamboat practice the match with him too. Savage did. They would practice.
Yeah, they practiced it, and Flair went out there with a 5. It's like think about that. It's like Flair, like Macho Man's probably telling Flair, "If I'm a better worker than you," it's like, all right, it's like they ain't gonna go practice everything to have a 5-star match. Ric Flair just shows up, walks out to the ring, let's call it out here.
Right.
5-star match. That's how good the guy is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.